All right, everybody. I'm here with my good friend and Lafayette Jeff graduate, class of 2022, Brendan Siegel.
Nice to be here. Nice to be on the podcast. We got a name for it?
Yeah, we do. We're gonna think about it.
Okay.
Let me read some accolades off for you. Two-time first team All NCC.
Yep.
IFCA preseason All State.
Mm-hmm.
Indy All State team.
Mm-hmm.
Academic All State. Three-time leader in tackles. 30 straight games started, and the best for last. Lafayette Jeff tackle record, 342 tackles.
Appreciate that, man.
What does all that mean to you?
I'd say, a lot of years of hard work, definitely to get that tackle record, but just consistency, especially like on the field. You want to talk about playing 30 straight games, just going in there, taking care of your body, but you got to pound it in the weight room, pound it on the field, but you still got to take care of yourself mentally and, mentally wise, just fighting through things. Like, I was banged up a lot, but, every Friday, it was my goal to do whatever it took to put the pads on for the boys, and I just think consistency will get you far in life. Just work ethic and just bust my ass every single day.
So, we all know, or most of us know, and especially a lot of viewers will know your great success in high school. But I want to start with this and start to ask, what inspired you to play the game of football? And you can answer the second part. It doesn't have to be football, but who was a role model or somebody who played a great role in your life that helped you succeed and bring you to where you are today?
Yeah, so definitely when I first started, now a lot of people would think that it was my older brother Jay who really got me to start, but I got into football in 5th grade, and he really wasn't even that big into football. He actually wasn't playing football at all when I got into it in 5th grade. So it was really just, looking at pictures of my uncle playing for Harrison, or having my dad tell me stories, or just, I was a pretty big kid, but, my dad always taught me sports from a very young age, whether that was baseball, basketball, and I just, wanted to use my size and actually be able to compete. So I'd say that's what first initially got me into football. And then what was your next question?
So, a role model, somebody that, it doesn't have to be a football player, but I wanted to know who molded you into the person you are today.
Yeah, really. I feel like this is probably going to be my go-to answer for a lot of them, but I got to say my older brother, Jay. Just from a young age, just him teaching me he used to always get up at 6 a.m. and get those workouts in before school, and he used to always, I wanted to tag along most of the time, but there were some times I didn't want to go, and he kind of forced me, but that helped me in the long run. He was showing me what hard work looked like, and I saw him as a kid who ended up playing JV the last game of his junior year, and he just came back that next offseason and just busted his ass, and it was a good sign to show me that hard work pays off,
Right.
So he was one of the best leaders I've ever been around.
Now, speaking of your older brother, I want to take you to the end of junior high, beginning of high school. Your brother, for the people that don't know, Jay Siegel, great wide receiver at Jeff, put up great stats his senior year. I believe was all conference.
Yeah, first team all conference. He's honorable mention all state too.
Right. All-star game as well?
Yeah, all-star game.
Yeah, all-star game as well. So you're done with junior high. Jay is exiting high school. Mm-hmm. What was it like, and how hard was it to kind of be in the shadow of him at first? And when was that moment where you kind of knew you made a name for yourself and you weren't just known as Jay's little brother?
So it was definitely, all through freshman year was pretty tough because, just all anybody, wanted to talk to me as was, Jay's little brother. Right. They used to call me Little Siegel or everything like that. I even had a cat. This was back earlier in 8th grade. I had a kid tell me, he said, if my brother was that good, he's talking about Jay. He said if my brother was that good, I could not go to the same high school as him. Like
Wow.
he's like basically saying I couldn't live up to the name.
What was that feeling like for you in that moment? Like, what was the gut instinct? Were you defeated, or were you motivated, or was it a mix of
It was
emotions?
at that time where I really started to change the mindset and just really started to use everything as fuel. And I feel like, writing down a lot of the things, and that's where, a lot of my motivation came from, because before people started saying I was, not big enough or not fast enough, a lot of the stuff they were saying was, you can't be as good as your brother. You're not going to be as good as your brother. They just kept saying that. So, yeah, most of my freshman year, little Seagull this, little Seagull that. I had to bust my ass to get the chance to, dress all the games as a freshman, get to play in a couple of games, got my first tackle against Kokomo my freshman year. But then when you're saying, when did I feel like I made a name for myself? So I will get to a point that I vividly remember it, but I can't say it was as, like the movies where there was that one time.
Sure.
I felt like it was so much of a gradual thing, because
Series of events.
so what a lot of people don't know is like I was actually a hell of a discus thrower in middle school.
You were.
So I made it to state and I placed 8th in the state. So freshman year I come in, everybody said I couldn't do this or that for football wise, but I actually came in and I was the varsity thrower in track my freshman year, every single meet. And that helped me build up a little bit of confidence to where,
Wow.
hey, I know I'm a varsity level guy, even though I'm 14. And then freshman year, I dressed every single game and I got in a little bit and made a couple plays. And then turn around sophomore year, I started every game. Lawrence Central, the week 2 built up some of my confidence because I put up 14 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
Made a couple plays at Kokomo.
I remember that game.
Yeah.
I knew you were legit. I was like, wow.
Appreciate it. But I'd probably say 2 things when I really truly felt I made a name for myself. Just getting away from my freshman year when everyone was calling me Little Seagull. I felt like it was McCutcheon week 3 of my junior year, because that's when I finally got named defensive player of the game. I got the hammer hit for the game, just all those accolades. And then I'd say the biggest one was, I felt like I kind of got robbed sophomore year, first team all-conference, because, or at least any all-conference team, because I led the conference in tackles.
There's a lot of good players on that team.
Yeah.
It's tough being a sophomore.
So I just, for how competitive I am, I truly feel like I made a name for myself when I got that first team all-conference after my junior year. So I know it's a long story. I felt confident throughout the way, even from my freshman year, but when I truly felt I made my name was, you got to get that first team all-conference.
So was it the end of the sophomore year when you felt like you truly didn't make it, but knew you could play and succeed, and not even just play and succeed, thrive at that level?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was, a lot of the games over my sophomore year for sure. There was the Kokomo game. I got, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. So, it was like these confidence builders along the way. But yeah, I definitely say, sophomore year after leading the team in tackles and leading the conference in tackles, that's when I felt
leading the conference in tackles is like, especially as a sophomore, that's no joke of a conference. You got a lot of good teams.
And but that's where the, more fuel came in. And for me, I'm just saying, how the hell do I win or get, first in the conference in tackles, and I can't even make second team all conference? I just thought
keeps that
stuff wasn't added up. And then, I was coming off the edge a lot, so I was, first in tackles. I was 6th in the whole conference in sacks.
Right.
And I'm like, you can't find a spot, second team all conference. That's when, I feel like that's truly when, it was around Christmas time when the articles get posted and I'm scrolling through it, and, it's just another thing that you're like, oh, is that what these people think about me?
Right. Now, I want to take you back to your teams at Jeff.
Yeah.
You were a 3-year starter.
Yep.
Out of the 2019, 2020, and 2021 campaign, which team was the best?
Oh, I'd say it's not necessarily even close. I'd say my sophomore year, it was the best team by far. We had, we had talent. We were deep. We just had guys all around. if I could, go off and name it real quick, Colton Lennon, left tackle, All-State. Zeke, NAIA offers everywhere. Maximus, one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen play. Should have went D1.
Absolutely.
Injuries.
Absolutely.
Marquise set all those records.
Ridiculous.
He's a beast. Derek Matthews, he went to St. Francis for a little bit, NAIA. Bishop Johnson's at Purdue currently. Just talent all around. Defensive side of the ball, you got Jalen, who's at Illinois State. DeMarco's at Illinois State. Caden could have played anywhere. Peyton's at Eastern Michigan. You had me at middle linebacker. My buddy Jamin Quentin Stephanie went and played NAIA ball. Garrett Price could have played anywhere he wanted. JJ Lee played NAIA. I just named probably 20 guys who played college football. It was the closest
we got. It's a good fucking team.
It was a great team. And then Maryville, I don't know if y'all know, halftime, Hail Mary. Our starting quarterback, Maximus, tears his ACL. We lose 27-20. And that was the closest. That was the closest we ever got to the dance.
It's a deflating situation for sure. Now I want to fast forward a little bit to the night you broke the tackle record.
Yeah.
Tackling machine, as we've mentioned. I mean, you're a vacuum.
Yeah.
Nothing got past you. Take me to the night you break the tackle record, and do you remember who it was against and what the feeling was like with the teammates? And was that the best part, celebrating with the guys?
Yeah, definitely. So I try to keep all distractions aside, just because Logansport was a really good football team that year, and we didn't really get started the way we wanted it to. In the back of my mind, I'm always like, who gives a shit about a tackle record if you lose the game? And they were knocking us in the teeth at the beginning of the game, and it was just a constant back and forth. And then second half we turned it up. I made a couple plays, got a nice third down stop, but I just remember it was a long quarterback rollout, and I got the video of it too. But I was able to run over there. One of our guys missed a tackle, thankfully. I was able to clean it up. Put a good licking on it, and it was just it was a rush of emotion. It was it was such a fun time, just because how many things, I'm not saying it wasn't hard. Obviously, it was hard work. Hard work, number one, but also all the things that have to, align right. You got to play at a high level, and then you got to play 30 straight games, and you got to be, healthy enough to be out there. And I feel like I prepared myself, but also, you just got to be fortunate for it to happen.
Right.
And I just feel like that was so many things coming together, so much hard work, so much discipline, so much preparation, and just being able to celebrate with the guys. They were really supportive of me. It fell up there with breaking the clean record.
Yeah. For this guy's a fucking ox. He just lifts more than anybody else I've ever seen. Now, if you look back at your high school career and evaluate it, do you have any second guesses or regrets, whether it be team success or individual, or do you fully confidently say you gave everything you had and have no regrets about it?
I know for me, working out wise, I gave it all I got.
Oh yeah.
Busting my ass every day in the gym. Hitting the field. Led the guys. I can't really say. If I wanted to go back, there was week one my senior year. One of the coaches, I'm not gonna name names, he said, actually we were wrong, and you should have filled a gap a different way than what they had told us to. Basically saying we really should have went against what they said. And as a 17-year-old, you want to trust your coaches. You don't want to be the guy who's gonna, not listen to what the coaches say and do what you think is right. But
as a leader, you were a leader of the team, and it shows, like any command, military, that if the top guy goes along with the coaching, whether it's bullshit or not, everybody else seems to fall in line, because people don't realize they're not Brendan Siegel, and they think they can have an attitude and play, and it just doesn't end up working out.
Well, so so that's the only thing that kind of, I hate Westside. I hated losing to them week one my senior year, but that's the only thing that, I kind of think about a little bit is damn, what if I, for the first time ever, didn't listen to the coaches because that's what they told me I should have done or could have done.
It's a tough situation.
So I don't even beat myself up about that too much. I was the guy who was gonna, like the Patriot way. I was gonna do my job, but I was gonna fly around and hit people. And the first
Patriot way, baby.
Yeah. Colts fans with Patriot way. First check mark was always just do your job.
Now I know I said that was the last high school question, but I do have one more. You
Yeah.
guys got off to a rough start
Yeah.
your senior year.
Yeah.
After having so much success the first couple years of your high school career, how hard was that for you as a competitor?
Yeah, it was probably not to overstate it. It was probably 4 of the toughest weeks of my life.
Yeah.
So far, just because you start to get into that hole, and I felt like we should have beat Westside, and I came in there, prepared for us to win, and we just weren't prepared right. We didn't have guys in the spots that knew what they needed to do, and I feel like we could have came in with a better game plan.
Yeah.
I don't like blaming coaches, but when the coaches tell us, "Hey, we messed up. We should have done it a different way."
Just following command. Huh?
Yeah. So Westside was tough, and then Lawrence Central, we were battling with them. I vividly remember we had a 3rd and 10.
Mm-hmm.
We were only down by 2, so it was 16-14, something in that range, and we give up a long 3rd and 10. They end up scoring a touchdown. So, just stuff like that, and then we finally get a win against McCutcheon, and then Harrison, same thing. It was a tough game, but eventually they got us in the end. And
did you get a sense of did you learn from the hard start how much did winning mean more after that?
Mm-hmm.
Because you kind of realized, hey, this isn't always this easy. Did it mean more?
Yeah, I started to realize there's just some cats that we can't just walk in and expect to beat. And
right.
You don't expect to beat anybody, but when sophomore year, freshman year, you gotta think Kokomo, a team like Kokomo, I'm a freshman and I get to play at the end of the game.
Right.
Versus senior year, it was after a tough start. We were 1-3. It was actually the first game, which it could be a good thing and a bad thing. We weren't really, Jeff as a team wasn't really projected to lose too many games.
Right.
But we also didn't have a great job of beating teams that were projected to beat us. So Kokomo is actually the first and only time in my whole career that we actually upset somebody.
Oh, wow.
We were projected to lose. Sagarin ratings, they got this whole system. So it was the first time we actually upset a team. And we beat them pretty decent, 34-14. But just cats like that, you can't underestimate them. And it really made you value